Hello everyone, welcome to the final MyTeam video of my first MyTeam season, round 22 out of 22 at the Yas Marina circuit for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Championship wise, we've not really got a lot to fight for. 7th in the drivers, 6th in the constructors. Barring any shock results, that's where we'll stay. As you saw in Singapore though, shock results are possible. Didn't finish in the points last time out, we were only in 12th position, mainly because we had to start from the back of the grid due to a whole load of engine penalties, so we don't have that to worry about. We've had another update arrive on the car, so let's see how we do in qualifying. Can we start in the top 10 for the first time this season? Do we want to start in top 10, of course, as that does fix our tyre choice. So let's see how qualifying goes. Hopefully it'll put us in good stead for the race. Final qualifying of the season. I know I said I was hoping for maybe a possibility to get into the top 10. If practice is anything to go by though, I am really going to struggle. Way down in all the practice sessions. Might even see Nick out qualify me again for the second race in the row. But let's give it my all. Let's see what I can do. Very careful on traction at this part of the circuit. I do seem to lose a bit of time coming out of this corner. It's not looking too bad so far. Lower reaches of the top 10. This long straight will be the main overtaking opportunity in the race, this one and the straight afterwards. I just always seem to struggle with the braking area for this corner. Always tend to go in a tad too deep. Not too bad that time around. Down into 11th place, which would be an ideal position to start if I could stick there. And already you can see how close it is in this midfield battle. Very late on the brakes once again for that chicane. And then you've got this awkward final sector of the lap approaching now. Very careful over the curbs here. Seem to just be riding them a bit too much, and then obviously can't get the power down. And here we go. Very awkward end to the lap. As I said, a lot of slow, tight corners. Not what I really seem to do well with for whatever reason. I do seem to lose a lot of time to those around me. And you can see now we're actually down in 16th. I'm not even close to staying on the track through that part of the circuit. More it across the finish line. Looks like 16th is the best we can manage. Not really what I was hoping for. I was hoping to be challenging for the top 10. There we are, pretty much near the back.
Complete, let's review our top 3 today. Bottas, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So we are there in 16th, Nick's in 18th, not too bad from him, and you can see how close he is getting. But yeah, when you consider I was 7th or 8th coming out of the first sector, and I've managed to lose half a second to the rest of the field at that part of the track, doesn't bode too well for the race. We do normally do better though in the race, of course, with our alternate strategy. So hopefully we'll be able to stay with some of these guys in the DRS zones and pick up a couple of points in what it will be the final race of the season.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Albon, Max Verstappen and Stroll, Perez, Vettel, Norris and Daniel Kvyat, Magnussen, Sainz, the owner driver and Giovinazzi, Russell, Raikkonen, Pierre Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty, and Esteban Ocon, Grosjean, De Vries, Latifi and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So many grid penalties there then actually bumps us up from 16th in qualifying to 13th on the grid. I'm going for a two-stop strategy. It worked for me in Singapore. Worked for me in Mexico. Will it work for me here? You can see 10 on the medium, 10 on the second set, 8 on the final set of softs. Let's finish on a high. Let's get some good points. Underway then, not a bad start. Nearly getting ahead of Carlos Sainz. It all seems to bunch up a lot into turn 1. Can't sneak around the outside of any cars, and in the end Giovinazzi's trying to have a go at me on his soft tyres in the Alfa Romeo. So a quick burst of ERS should put paid to that into this chicane where I can't take advantage of these guys battling. Can I go all the way around the outside of Magnussen and Sainz? I'm going to give it a go. I might be able to get one of them. I might even be able to get two of them here using my ERS. Used a bit of spare fuel that I've got as well. It's a straight drag race between myself and the McLaren of Carlos Sainz here, and I think I've just about managed to get my way ahead. No, he's fighting back as I try and have a fight with Lando Norris. It's all getting very bunched up into that chicane there. Sainz able to hold on in the end, but I've got a much better exit than him coming down the next straight into the next chicane.
Pushing. Let's capitalise on that first lap.
Jeff telling me to keep pushing as if I was going to be doing anything different. And I've now got ahead of Lando, well, not ahead of Lando Norris, sorry, I've got ahead of Carlos Sainz. Norris is just ahead of me. Not a bad first lap, got a decent start, managed to almost get ahead of Sainz. Giovinazzi had a go at fighting with us. Somehow held off a few drivers, and while Magnussen and Sainz were battling, managed to take advantage of that. Eventually,
focus now for the rest of the race.
Eventually get ahead of the pair of them as I nearly end up spinning off towards the pit lane there, which is not ideal whatsoever. Lap 1 over, we're in 11th place. Now into our usual setting into a rhythm and see when everyone else is going to pit. Quite a mixture of strategies, which is unusual for this season. Most of the time the AI has been pretty fixed to one strategy. I've got some drivers near me on the mediums, some on the softs, so those on the softs I think will definitely be going for the 2-stomp strategy. We'll have to see if those on the mediums go onto the hards and only do one pit stop. 11th place, looking good after not the best qualifying. Really closing in on Norris. Maybe I'm just about close enough to send one down the inside from pretty much.
Nice work, that brings you up a place.
So far back, I was not expecting to really close in as much as I did. The lap before, I didn't close in at all, and that's actually cost Norris quite dearly because he's now dropped behind his teammate Carlos Sainz. That has got us up into the points. Norris was dropping back from these guys up ahead on the soft tyres. That's why I felt I had to get the move done. See if I can work my way onto the back of Vettel and Kvyat then, as Sainz thought about going for a move down the inside. Pretty much caught me unawares there. I was half expecting a big accident. I seem to be struggling to keep tyres in a good temperature in this final part of the lap, so need to be a bit careful on the throttle. For now though, up into 10. Kvyat's had a big wobble out of the hairpin, and this is just going to give me a fantastic run. I can go later on the brakes, might have just out-braked myself ever so slightly though. No, able to stay ahead. Now, because of all the pit stops, that has put me up into 2nd place for now. Obviously Kvyat's got DRS here, so just need to be a bit careful to make sure he isn't able to get me back, and I've managed to cover off that move. Planning to pit at the end of next lap. Not sure whether I'll stretch it out slightly longer. Up into 2nd. Following Vettel into the pits, then Sainz has come in as well, so stayed in 2nd place before our pit stop. Very unique to say the least pit lane here as it Nick's coming in as well, so I'd better get out pretty quickly, and that wasn't the best exit I've ever had out of the pits.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
That pit lane exit is probably the corner the hardest I've concentrated all season. Very tricky pit lane exit. We're back out in 11th place. Interestingly, that Kvyat is on the soft tyres again. I've gone for another set of mediums. Due to pit again at the end of lap 20, but for now, just outside the point once more. It's all getting very tasty up ahead with Perez and Kvyat. Someone might lose out on this battle, and I want to ensure it's not going to be me. Perez is going to try and go to the inside. I'm going to be forced all the way around the outside later on the brakes than the pair of them. just again getting it stopped in time. Kvyat stays behind Perez. No, actually has just managed to get ahead. I've got ahead of the pair of them though, so I'm not too bothered about that. Up into 8th. Finally seem to have dropped Kvyat out of my DRS range. Feels like forever he's been stuck within a second of me. I'm not really catching too much up to Vettel and Stroll up ahead of me either, so I think a lot's going to depend on the pit stops here. 8th place probably looks like the best I can manage today. Bit like what happened earlier with Perez and Kvyat. Stroll and Vettel were battling extremely hard then before Stroll came into the pits, and it has really allowed me to close up just about within a second of Vettel. If I can get in his DRS, this could be a big help for this race. Second and final pit stop of the race. Not even going to try and count how many pit stops we've had this season, but it is our final one. Hoping that I can still come out in the points after this. We'll be on the soft tyres towards the end of the race. There we go. Nick pitting the same lap as well.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
And it is going to be pretty close on the exit between us and Daniel Kvyat, but we've managed to get ahead. We might be able to get DRS though down the next straight unless I can seriously close in on these racing points, which is going to give me the DRS as well. So now we're we're back down into 10th place, I should say. No more pit stops to do. Stroll on the mediums.
We've got a lot of spare energy. Use your overtake button.
Stroll on the mediums, Perez on soft tyres, which are making me think he's going to have to pit again, because he pitted much earlier than us last time around. Top 8 finish, definitely the minimum target from this race. Well, Perez has already come into the pits, as has Norris again, so we're already up into 8th. Look how close we are on the back of Stroll on those mediums. Such a good run out that hairpin. Stroll's going to take the inside line. I'm going to go around the outside, and I should just have the superiority on the brakes to get my car ahead and take that position up into 7th. Vettel 3 seconds ahead is going to be a bit of a challenge to get to in that Ferrari. Going to try my best though, going to try and extend this gap, because I think Kvyat will be coming through on Stroll very shortly, and he might be a threat towards the end of the race.
We pretty much burned off our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
The reason why I'm burning my excess fuel, Jeff, is because I want to catch up to Vettel. I might not have any fuel to pass him when I get there, but I'm still pushing as hard as I can with 4 laps to go to see if I can get that 6th place.
This is your final lap of the race.
Final lap of the race, final lap of the season. As you can see, I am being within Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc actually, just not quite quickly enough unfortunately, so I think any chance of finishing higher than we are at the moment, unless one of these has a puncture, a big mistake. We have seen a couple of retirements in this race. Ricciardo right at the start, Grosjean a few seconds ago, but I think this is pretty much going to be it for us. Another circuit where, and it is a pattern on this game with the AI, I am aware of that qualifying just doesn't seem to go well. But in the race, I've done really well, and to say practice was an absolute nightmare. Like, one of the worst practices.
Fuel now. The tank is empty.
One of the worst practice sessions I've had all season. I'm really surprised that I've been able to, you know, get up to 7th place, and not only that, actually have pretty decent pace. Yes, I had a very good first lap, as I think that's some fireworks going off. There we go. There's the fireworks for Lewis Hamilton's race victory. I've not had too bad of a pace here, just taking it easy now. Don't want to make any mistakes at the end. Not pushing anywhere near as hard, just because I know final couple of corners, got nothing to gain and everything to lose at the moment from making a mistake. We're heading across the line. We're going to get 7th place in the race and 7th place in the championship.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
So again, it won't surprise me if we get driver of the day, as we so often do, and there we go. Wonder if once we'll actually be able to qualify high up the grid, so we don't get that. We'll have to wait and see, because I can't remember the last time we didn't get driver of the day. Very familiar sight of Mercedes taking the victory. Hamilton winning the final race. Bottas took the championship in the end. Mercedes obviously winning the constructors. It would be nice if we could challenge those guys next season, but I somehow doubt we'll be able to get up to that level. I do want a couple more podiums next season. We got one this season. Got a podium this season that I was not expecting whatsoever. Would be really nice if we could pick up a few more. Would be nice as well if actually we could manage to even get teammates scoring some points next season.
This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I'm going to give it to the owner-driver today. They did a great job at getting the most out of their tyres without losing pace, something that's a very handy skill to have in modern-day Formula 1.
It's another clear win for Mercedes as they managed to secure the Constructors' title. An incredible performance for the whole team. Well, Ants, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
You can see there then, 6th in the Constructors' Championship, a very handy first season. I'm targeting that 4th place next year. That is where I want to be. For myself, in the Drivers' Championship, we got 7th place, and I reckon we could probably beat Albon next year. Depends, of course, if there are any team movements. We know Raikkonen is retiring, finished 17th in the championship. Nick and Dorian not scoring any points this season. We'll see how Nick did in the race. Finished in 15th, actually managed to beat Perez and Ocon, who went for a very strange 3-stop strategy. So not a bad race there from Nick. I think that equals his best finish of the season. He's definitely showing more pace as the car is beginning to show more pace. So I think if we carry on that improvement, he will be able to pick up a few points this season. And we have already seen him get closer to myself in qualifying. The AI do seem to do better when you put them in a better car.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.
And somehow after the race, it is now magically sunny again in Abu Dhabi.
What was your strategy?
I don't think they've quite realised it's a night race.
Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing. How do you think this team will be feeling after that result?
They've worked really hard. I think Red Bull are now the 2nd best team on the game. Ferrari,
Appreciate your time.
as you could see from that race, seem to be dropping back into our clutches. So maybe next season, there's even a possibility for us to get top 3 in the Constructors' Championship. And next season will be where our next video starts. It'll be all the way back to Melbourne as we gain ourselves a bit of team acclaim. And thankfully, with that top 10 finish, I'll now definitely have enough cash to renew Nick's contract, which is what I'm hoping to do. Hopefully he doesn't get poached by another team. I think value for money wise is probably the best I can afford, because I don't have to buy him out, obviously. I already own his contract. So that's it then for this video. That is it for this video. That is it for this season. A fantastic first MyTeam season. Struggled a bit at the start. Australia, the very first one that I did on Twitch, that is now lost to the annals of history. Didn't exactly go to plan. Picked up some points in Bahrain. Vietnam was a shocker. Then we had Monaco, a fantastic result there. Silverstone was awful. We somehow took a victory at Singapore. And we've been a very consistent point scorer for the majority of the season, to be honest. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time when Season 2 of my MyTeam series will start.